Hello guys and welcome back. We are at Dave's place for the latest update with his engine.
So the last time I think we saw the engine was actually in the bike. Well, you can tell it's back out again. Somehow in futzing around with stuff I managed to drop a bolt into the bottom of the crankcase, which was not fun, but that meant the engine had to come out and we had to turn it over and shake it out. Well, we've gotten that far, so now that the engine's back out onto the bench, we'll just build the rest of the engine on the bench here and then put it into the bike with the barrel and head on. So today what we're going to look at is the studs have been Loctited in. You can tell there's plenty of rags in the crankcase opening so nothing falls into it. And so we'll be following a video that Jim Comstock has on his method of putting the pistons and barrels all together. And so we'll show you how he did it, and you'll of course be able to watch how he does it the right way. We'll see how I end up doing.
Cool, great. Hope you enjoy it, guys. See ya.
Alright, I think to start off with, let's get the piston rings on the pistons. So this is the set that I got from Jim. It's just an MGO piston set, and then some rings from Coventry Spares. And of course we're at 20 over with these ones. So let me unbox this thing. Now while we're working on these piston rings, I've got the wrist pins in the freezer right now. Probably going to slip in anyways, but we'll freeze them up a little bit.
Yeah.
There we go, piston number 1. And I believe on the 750s we should have a left and a right, and oh, carefully look for the L for a left. Now if I can just remember which side is left on a bike, we should be good to go. You can see the 20 over here on the piston. That should make it relatively easy, even for us. Me. You know what you're doing, right?
I know the US left, the UK left.
So which side of the road would this one be on?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
So the thing that's been freaking me out about the piston rings is you need to have the rings in the right slots. So on these pistons, there's 3 slots. Your bottom oil scraper, and then I believe 2 compression rings, or 2 scrapers. So I was afraid that I'd open the box and there'd be just a jumble of rings that I had no idea which one goes where. Well, luckily, they make these ready. 1, 2, 3, and hopefully even I can figure that one out. And of course we're gonna do it in reverse order of 3, 2, 1. Oil rings here, and then the 2 other rings at the top. Let's see if I can pull this one off. And of course there's 2 different traditional ways of putting a piston ring on. One is to kind of wind it around the piston, or the other one is to use a piston ring expander. They call it a remover installer, but and these tools, I got this at Napa today for $7. No excuse not to have this in your tool chest. And this will just spread as we'll see, the rings slightly, and you'll just pop them right over the top. Some people also use shim stock or methods to kind of protect, but what you're really trying to do is protect the piston from the rings, and you're also trying to prevent breaking the rings while you do this. All right, put that aside there, and we'll put this one up here so we can see it. Okay, again, 3, 2, 1. Start with number 3. Now these always comprise of, at least on these engines, it's actually 2 thin rings and then a wide ring, and those actually go in the middle. So the trick is to put the bottom one in first, then your middle one, and then your last one. So let's see if I can do this successfully. All right. There we go. Come on. It's a lot harder to do it on camera. There we go. So there's our first one. And now this one here, this one I'll just do by hand. It's just lay that one in there. Just making sure that I get on top of that.
Have you seen the video that Jim has done on those expanders? Where he chops off a little bit.
Oh, on those ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It makes quite a difference.
All right, so I gave it one try on this bottom ring set, did it wrong. So now we're gonna try to do it the right way. So what I did wrong was I put in these one of the thin rings first, and that actually is not the right order. It probably tells you how to do it on the instructions, but it looks like on this particular set you want to put on this expander first. And of course you don't really need a tool for that. This is very low tension. So we'll put this on here. This one here, you can see it's actually got two different colors, a red and a green. I don't know if you can see it in the light here or not. But that tells that you have this particular one in the right place. It does like to fall back, overlap very easily, so we'll recheck that before we go into the bore. So now that you've got this center piece in, now the other two go in nicely. So this is what we've kind of learned. So you'll learn along with us. Okay, and now I can put this together correctly. As long as I don't break anything. Haven't yet, but day is still young. Now as I expand this ring, it definitely likes to flex in some crazy positions, so it doesn't really expand uniformly, and I'm trying to expand it as little as possible but still get it in here. So let's see how I did here. Not horrible yet. There we go. That one's around, that's around, and that's around. So now I've got the bottom one of this set in. We still have to be careful because that middle ring is liking to overlap. So we will address that. Hopefully we can do that with the rings in there. And there I can see that set. Perfect. Okay, let's get this top one in. And then I'll have to actually go back and look at what position all these different rings should be at. I'll probably go back and watch Jim's video 6 more times before I actually button this thing up. And so there we go. We've got all 3 of those into that bottom slot. I am overlapping here, and we'll need to address that. Don't let me forget. So there we go. 1 down. Now we're moving on to number 2. So let's see here. As I look at our instructions here, this particular set does have a bevel on the inside, and that goes a particular way. Inside bevel must go up. And so we've got an inside bevel, and so we'll make sure that that is actually facing up. Now these rings are definitely much thicker than the other ones we just put in, so I think we're gonna have a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not sure what these are made of, but I'm gonna try to be careful here. They definitely are they aren't flexing the same as the other ones did. And there we go. 10-foot gap, so we should be fine. There we go. Okay, excellent. All right. And then we move on to number 1. Now with number 1, we also have an inside bevel. And as we check our chart here, inside bevels are going to be facing up. And there we go, all of the rings are now on. We'll double check that oil expansion ring, make sure we don't overlap there. So if you recall from just a few minutes ago when we were looking at this expander ring, how you needed to have the 2 different colors, Well, when I put the 2 rings on, it was actually overlapping. Now those rings actually hold that expander into place, and I was unable to get it unlapped. So by putting some protective tape on here, I was able to move the bottom ring out of the way, get it unlapped, and then put the ring back in, and now we're back where we should be. Again, using the tape to help protect the piston as best as I can. So there we go. Now, finally, I can officially say I almost got this done. We're back now, and I got the other piston rings on the other piston. We spared you that excitement here, and actually a lot faster than that. I'd done it one time. Again, double checking to make sure that I've got my expander properly put in there. Again, we said these are definitely handed pistons. So here they are. We're looking at the back of the engine. Right, carefully marked with a big R, and a left, like so. And what we're looking for is the big cutout goes to the back of the motor at your intake, and the smaller ones are your exhaust towards the front. So that's how they'll sit in the bike. And so the next thing to do is to get the circlips. As Jim says, put the circlip on the inside one. And again, make sure that the sharp edge on these circlips, this is the kind of rounded side and the sharp edge. Sharp edge goes to the outside. So let's see if I can get this to work. Whoops. Try that one again. There we go. Again, making sure my sharp edge is out. Squeeze carefully and watch it shoot across the garage. Oh, not too far in, just enough. That's gonna be hard.
Shall I?
Let me try to do this real quick and see if she goes. Again, making sure that sharp is to the outside. Again, exhaust to the outside, and there we go. These ones, make sure they don't overlap or hit anything. That one's there, which is on the front. Turn that one a little bit, and the other one is right there. And don't put them by the gudgeon pin, or somebody's gonna have a knot in their panties, but
Yeah, there's an oil feed on the Vincent barrel.
oh, really?
And you have to avoid that.
Oh,
with the gaps.
Where's the oil? Does it come through the side of the barrel?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, so
I mean, these rings are so loose, I mean, they're just going to fall wherever they fall. Okay. Here goes nothing. Oh, I see what he's doing. You can get that side in. Might be able to squeeze and get. I have a feeling that Jim's got super tough fingernails by now. All right, there's one. Please. In. Yep. Now we're down to the oil thinger, and he just rocked it.
he did make it look very easy.
Well, I mean, he struggled a wee bit, but he just kind of pushed it in there, and there we are, right to the gudgeon pins, wrist pins.
Yes.
Depending on what country you're from.
Gudgeon.
Gudgeon.
Yeah. That was
One
a gudgeon.
down.
That was a gudgeon, Dave.
That was a gudgeon. I'm having a gudgeon kind of day. The good news is because I put the circlips in the correct orientation on the inside, at least I know then where those go. I'm sure there'll still be lots of squabbling about where the rings go, but really they're flopping around so much I don't care. So we got one of the oil ones, we'll put it off to one side, and then the bottom one on the other side, we'll put it away from the wrist pin for us Yanks. And drop this thing in. Let's see here. That one will go there. That one in the back. Just kind of squeezy wheezy here. Let's see. Yep, there it is. I will say, God bless Jim, this is a hell of a lot easier than a piston ring compressor.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, you just don't have the weight of that barrel bearing down on those rings, do you?
No.
And
I mean,
it's awkward. It's awkward, isn't it?
It's very easy this way. I think I used a piston ring compressor when I was redoing like my Boltaco.
I've used one like a little plastic, you know, like a scraper type thing, like a little triangular scraper to push them in instead of your fingernails.
Which I do have if I get more annoyed at this. I don't like it right by the opening there. Let's see if it's easier if I go up to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So push that one side down, like so, and maybe that'll retain it on the back side a little bit. And squeeze the front.
Just let me know if I can help in any way.
Oh, nope, I don't mind the sarcastic remarks. Just keep on, let those come in.
Well, I can do that.
Oh, good. There's one.
It's called encouragement, Dave.
Is it?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's good.
Okay, we're down to the next one. And then we'll push that one this way. There's that. Okay, that one's down. All right, let me try one of those plastic tools. Now I'm getting annoyed with that. Oh, that's actually really easy when you do it with the little tool. I'll remember that next time. There. Kind of that funnel on the barrel kind of goes away a little bit on the spigot. There we go. And just like that, Bob's your uncle.
Fanny's your aunt.
There you go.